All right, so we are talking about different types of random sampling when they use groups. And today we're going to talk about stratify and cluster. And it's different than simple random sampling that you did with your calculator and your random digit table, because the first thing that happens is we put people or things into two or more groups. So if somebody says, here's a situation, is this simple random sampling? You need to say to yourself, okay, can I have a group of all guys? Can I have a group of all girls? And if the answer is no, or if the population was put into different groups first, then it's not simple random, because there's simply some groups that will not be able to be selected. We have not talked about systematic or multi-stage yet, but we will. Okay, so there are basically three ways to sample. You can put everything into a hat, mix them up, pull them out. You can do the random digit table, label table, stop, and ID, or you can do technology. Label, randomize, stop, and identify. And this identify step is a step that's usually forgotten when kids are taking the AP test. You forget to say, okay, now that I have my group numbers, let me go back and tell those people, hey, you're in group 1, you're in group 2. All right. So we are going to talk about stratifying. That starts by classifying the population into groups of similar individuals called strata. And then you take a random sample from each strata. And we're going to talk about cluster. You put people into groups. Usually cluster is done because you're close in location. Like if you were going to try to take a survey of how the suburbs of Cleveland feel about things, you might randomly pick a few suburbs or pick a few blocks in suburbs or neighborhoods and go ask the whole neighborhood. It's not as good as stratify, but it does save a lot of time. Okay, so this is on page 33. The stuff we've skipped over is the stuff we're going to do next Monday and Tuesday to review for your big quiz. So we place members of the population into groups for both of these. They both start off the same way. But for stratify, this is usually based on some similarities. That's how we group. So in this class, I could do it based on juniors, seniors, and sophomores. That would be a similar characteristic you have. For cluster sampling, it's going to be based on location. Usually, the groups are based on location. And we're going to do a few examples of these so you get the idea of them. I don't want to start into that just yet. Make sure I haven't forgotten to say something I wanted to say. I don't think I have. Choose the sample. For stratified sampling, you're going to go to each group and choose a simple random sample. But for cluster sampling, it's a little bit different. Instead of visiting each of the groups that you have made, you're going to put the names of the group in the hat, and you're going to just go visit a couple entire groups. So to choose the sample for cluster, you're going to randomly choose a couple of entire groups. Then, of course, you're going to contact those groups and collect the data and then analyze the data, which we've already done some analyzing the data. In Chapter 1, we did single variable data. In Chapter 2, we did single variable data that was also normally distributed. And last chapter, we did bivariable data. So here's one way to look at this. We have populations. And you can thank Ms. Bogger, this is a very excellent slide. You don't have this, but once you get the whole thing, if you want to take a picture of this, you can. So we have populations, and if you're colorblind, you can't tell that those are different colored dots. There's red, purple, green, and blue dots up there. Okay? For Stratify, you're going to put all the red dots together, all the blue dots, all the green dots, and all the purple dots. So you're separating them by something they have in common. And then you're going in here and like, okay, I'm going to pick these guys. And I'm going to pick 3 from this randomly. Somehow you would, put them in a hat, label them, do the label table stuff and ID that you learned the last couple days. I'll pick 3 from here. And I'll pick 3 from here. That's how you do Stratify. For cluster, we break them into location. So for cluster, they have a common location. So we just split them because all of these are close together and so forth. And then I would label this like cluster A, cluster B, cluster C, cluster D, and I put into my hat. Okay, I'm not an artist. No kidding. All right, we'll drop into the hat A, B, C, and D, and I randomly put my hand in and say, oh, look, I'm going to ask everybody in C. And I put my hand in and say, oh, I'm also going to ask everybody in cluster A. So that's the difference between cluster and Stratify. All right? So that's a pretty good visual of what's going on. So cluster is usually based on location, and Stratify is based on commonalities or common characteristics. And a way you could put that on the paper that you have would be something like, so everybody got their picture that wants their picture? You can always go back on the video. You guys at home, if you wanted a picture, all right? So if you wanted to put this on that paper 33, you could make up like 4 circles and we randomly pick from each of the circles. But over here, those same 4 circles, you randomly take the 2 of the 4, or 1 of the 4, or 3 of the 4. Something. If you took all 4 of the 4, that would be called beginning with a C. If you took all 4 of these clusters, that would be called a C, E, N. Thank you, Jen. Or was that Alex? That was Alex. Thank you, Alex. In which case, it would be even stupid to put them into groups in the first place if you're just going to ask everybody, right? Okay, so here's an example. If I wanted to ask the kids at Kenston High School how they felt about something. Okay, so come up with a question. I'm going to pull somebody's name. Come up with a question you'd like to know about all students at Kenston High School. Molly has been selected. Are you going to come to the play? Yes. Thought of something for you. Okay. Are you coming to the play? If you wanted to do a simple random sample of that, you would obtain a list of all students and their IDs. You could use computer software to generate, let's say, the student IDs that will be included in your sample. So maybe you say, I'm going to ask 100 students. Are you coming to the play? All right. Every student in every group has an equally likely chance of being selected. If you're going to pull out 100 names, you could get what? All 100 being male or all 100 being female. You could get all 100 being freshmen. Or you could get all 100 being in fall sports or winter sports, and thus they can't come to the play. So that would be maybe not the most desired method. All right, if you're going to do stratified, then what you might want to do is divide the students by grade level. Put all the 9th grade students in a hat, 10th grade students, 11th grade, 12th grade, and then you'd go to each hat and pick 25. I just made up the number 100 because it's an easy number to think about. All right, and you would ask 25 freshmen, are you coming to the play next week? Doing the same thing, randomly selecting them. So every student does not have an equally likely chance of being chosen out of the population to be in a sample. Every student in a subgroup has an equally likely chance. So if there's more seniors than freshmen, which I believe there are, this year's senior class has 70 more students than next year's freshman class. Like the 8th graders, this year's seniors are around 250, and next year's 8th graders are around 180. Huh? That's what Mr. Coltis told me. Not that Mr. Coltis, his father.
At the grade like all grades.
Yeah, they are. Which is a problem if you are a new teacher in the building. Because if they have to reduce staff, it's not going to be me. I would like to be reduced, but I got 4.75 more years. Actually, it's closer to 4.65 now because we're halfway through this quarter. Not that I'm counting. But that's how many more years I have. I could stay forever if I didn't have to deal with the crap the state makes me do. But. Okay, what's cluster? Put them into freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors, and then randomly go ask all the freshmen, are you coming to the play? So with that particular question, are you going to come see the play called the Spelling Bee? Is that what the play's called?
Yeah, the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling.
The 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. And are you spelling words like what's his face makes the kids do after they win the National Spelling Bee? Like nonsense words? Or are they actual words? Or are you not allowed to say?
Well, I think they're real words.
Okay.
I've never heard of most of them, but I think they're real.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's not, who is it that does that? I can't think of the guy's name. One of the late night talk show guys. Makes his sidekick, who's I think a Mexican man, dress up as a bee.
I don't know.
And then he does things like, he pronounces the real words. But the guy pronounces them completely wrong. Like doesn't use phonetics, he uses like what it looks like. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel. Like he might say stratified is stratified or something, and like you're like. And then they'll say, could you use that in a sentence? Yes, stratified is a word I'm using in a sentence. And then they have to try to figure it out. Okay. All right, so the basic idea is sampling straightforward, take a simple random. Stratified works best when the individuals within each stratum are similar with respect to what is being measured and when there are large differences between the strata. Like I would think that students who are going to come to the play are more likely to be juniors and seniors than freshmen. Just because the juniors and seniors know more of the people in the play and they've been around here enough to know they're really good, and I don't know. Okay, so let's go to page 35 and let's actually do one of these. Okay, a club has 30 student members and 10 faculty members. The club can send 4 students and 2 faculty members to the convention. It decides who will go by random selection. And I don't know why in the world these numbers keep, I mean, we fix these every single time we do this problem, and that's okay. All right, so first, we have separated them into students and faculty. Those are strata, because their commonalities is their students, and the other group down below is faculty. So capital N is supposed to represent how many are in my student population, and that's 30. And how many students can go to the convention? 4. All right, let's see who knows how to do this. We've had a couple days of practice, or maybe really just one. Alex, what would I say for label? How many digits do I have to use?
I'll use 2 digits
From what to what?
from 0, 1 to 30.
Yep, 0, 1 to 3, 0. Excellent. Table. We are just going to let somebody pick a line in our table. And you have to choose, Ella, between the numbers 101 and 150. What line do you want to use?
40.
Okay, so she wants to use line 140. So you can just, we're all going to pick the same place. If we were doing this in real life for real, we would all pick a different spot because we'd all want to get different samples. Use line 140 and pick off what? How many digits at a time? 2. Is it always 2? Nope. It all depends upon how many digits are in your population. All right? Now it's the phrase that people stumble on. But Sam's not going to stumble. We're going to continue until what?
You have 4 different 2-digit numbers.
Ah, yes. And don't write diff. We can write different out. We got this. If you run out of letter ink, I will gift you a free pencil. Until 4 different 2-digit numbers. And then for only tables do you have to say from 0, 1 to 30, because basically you're saying please throw away anything above 30. Skip Ola. All right, I didn't know I had that piece of table there, but I don't think you guys have it, do you? You do have this piece of table on your worksheet?
Yeah. Yeah, can we do one, please?
Okay, let's do one for it. Liz, you're being, was it Liz or Ella? Ella, you're being overturned. We're going to do 146 since it's on our paper. Okay, and I'm going to write out, if you're having trouble with this, I'm going to do it like I would do it if I'm having trouble. I would parse them out. 37, 60, 95, 90, 57, 66, 96. Thanks, Maria. 78, I'm just kidding. 34. Have I even gotten one that's good yet? All right. So let me go back to this. 34. Oh, 01. Person 01 is my first one going. And we got 60, 70, 50, 23. Ding, ding, ding. 84 is no good. 90 is no good. 59 is no good. 79 is no good. 36 is no good. Double 0 is no good. Go down to the next line. 54 is no good. 97 is no good. 38 is no good. 62 is no good. 78 is no good. 88 is no good. 73 is no good. 77 is no good. 43 is no good. 51 is no good. 47 is no good. 50 is no good. But we have our third one. It's person 8. And then 45, 52, and 19. So we're taking 1, 23, 8, and 19. And you should now go tell them, hey, you've been selected. So take a look. Person 01 is able to go. Oh, see what I did there? I'm glad Bella was paying attention. Okay, and person 23, curl. And then what did I say, person 8? Gosh, they're so excited to go. Or is that going to be gauche? Huh?
There's only one more.
And then what's the last one, did I say? 19.
There's David Chen.
Miranda.
The one that we chose. David Pearl. Gosh.
Miranda Lambert's coming with us. All right, now, do you notice what happened? How many digits we had to throw away? Do you notice how inefficient a table is? Okay, so here, the next one, and the reason we're doing this is because we have two choices here for the faculty. We can label them 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, 09, and 10. But then we're going to waste 90% of the digits we come across. And if we start looking through here, it's going to take us a super long time. So when you have exactly 10, or exactly 100, or exactly 1,000, there's a shortcut way to do this. Does anybody know what that is? Go ahead, Sam, say it loud.
0 through 9.
Yeah, let's let yang be 0 for 10. So I'm going to say use 0 equal 10. So I'm going to label Andrews 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And now it's going to be quick like a bunny, really fast, because no digits are going to go unused. So that's the only time you want to do this is when you have exactly 10 or exactly 100 or exactly 1,000. And if you don't understand why, you can tell me in a minute and I'll show you why. Okay, so how am I going to label this? Use one digit from 1 to 0, 0 equals 10. Oh yeah, in my population I have 10 and I'm taking what, 2 of them? Okay, I guess now you have to pick between 123 and 133. And then you get to pick. What do you want? What line do you want to use?
126.
126. So use line 126. Pick one digit at a time. I don't really have to say that. And Ben, do you know when I'm going to stop? Continue until?
You have 2 different numbers from 1 to 0.
That's one of those keywords that you can underline again for me. Continue until 2 different numbers from 1 to 0 are selected. And if it hurts you to put 1 to 0, you can in parentheses put 0 equal 10 up here or something if that's bothering you. So I go down to 126 and look who's going. 9 and 6. Done. So person 9 is West, and person 6 is Lightman. I had a boy who graduated with me named Sean Leitner. He could pole vault like the sky. I don't think that's really the same. Girls are so lucky. I would have so been a pole vaulter if it was a thing back in my day. Like watching, what's her face? Krause, Maggie Krause pole vault. Does anybody know her? You know Ethan Krause, he graduated a couple years ago. He's a big dude. You do not want to be in his way in marching band because he'll just turn the wrong way and plow you over. That's what I was told. And didn't he play the sousaphone? Yeah. So like not only is he like a large person, he just wonk with that sousaphone and flatten you. Anyway, Maggie went to Ohio Northern. She just graduated last year. God bless her. She missed her senior spring and winter she got winter pole vaulting, but they shut down right before, I think, the nationals in indoor. Like, she was like the top in the nation in Division III colleges at pole vaulting. Did you ever see the E360 on the girl who was blind at pole vaults? She wasn't blind when she started pole vaulting, but she was losing her sight. And so now they play like this beep, beep, beep noise as she runs down. And so she can hear the noise getting closer and closer, so she knows when to plant. I mean, how can you do that if you're blind? Like, know when to plant that pole, and I don't know. That just has to be such a rush to pole vault. I mean, wouldn't that be cool? Like, you have to have massive upper body strength. That's why gymnasts are really good at pole vaulting. I don't think Maggie was a gymnast, but if you go to the track meets these days, it's usually gymnasts. Okay, now look what would happen, just so you guys know, look what would happen if I did 2-digit numbers. If I did from 01 to 10, and we use the same line that Ben told us about, I'd have 96, no good, 92, no good, 71, no good, 99, no good, 31, no good, 36, no good, 8, yay. 97, no good, 41, no good, 92, no good, 77, no good, 56, no good, 78, no good, 87, no good, 41, no good, 48, no good, 40, no good, 94, no good, 19, no good. It would take me to 03. It would take me to the very end of that line where I just did it in 2 the way Sam suggested. That's what I'm talking about, efficiency. There are good ways to do things, and there are more effective and quick, efficient ways to do things. And so that's why when you have exactly 10 or exactly 100, you would go from 01 to 00, with 00 being person 100. And that is how you would pick a stratified sample with your table. Okay, look at 25. Oh, we'll do that in a minute. High-speed internet laying fiber optic cable is expensive, and some places out here in Bainbridge, I think, not too long ago, within the last 10 years, have just gotten some of the new high-speed cable stuff, right? We still have pockets in Bainbridge where the internet or the Wi-Fi stinks. Does anybody know where that is? Because I always lose my calls on the way home.
The valley.
Right before Treat Road.
Yeah.
Right after Petitti's. Is that what it is called now? It's changed hands like, what, 3 times there? That's amazing. Did any of you ever walk into the inside of that Petitti's? Especially girls. Have you ever, do you know what I'm talking about? The big, well, Breezewood's like that too. Like they have a really cool stuff you want to get your mom and gift for Christmas. Really cool stuff. Just throwing that out there. Okay. Cable companies want to be sure that if they extend their lines out to less dense suburban or rural areas, there will be sufficient demand and work will be cost effective. They decide to conduct a survey to determine the proportion of households in a rural subdivision that would buy the service. They select a simple random sample of 5 blocks in the subdivision and survey each family that lives on one of those blocks, or we'll say neighborhoods. What's the name for this kind of sampling method? They separated the groups by what? Separated groups by, beginning with an L. Location. Is there another younger Spikusa? I thought there was only 2.
Yeah, there's one in our.
Wow. That's Mr. Marino's grandkids. I don't know if you know who Mr. Marino is. He is a statistics, I call him Mr. Ohio of statistics. Because he teaches at John Carroll. He's been retired for years, but he does more than anybody else does for statistics in the state of Ohio. And his grandkids are Madison Spikusa and Nathan Spikusa, and I didn't know that there was a third one. How fun.
She's in your Oscars. I know she's not. She's fine.
I'll see her in AP Stat. I think the girls' Bakuza, forget where she's going, but I think she's going to be an elementary teacher, like her mom.
That's
She at
not right.
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. I knew it wasn't Ohio State. That's where Nathan went.
They said grad school in Washington.
Now, Washington State.
Yeah.
What's he want to be?
Something with,
Civil engineers.
Yeah. Cool. So this younger Bakuza is a girl. Does she have curly hair too? Nothing like Nate's wild man.
Now I do Nate's hair's great.
Nate's hair is crazy. Okay. Give a possible reason. Okay, so it's called cluster. By the way, SRS stands for simple random sample, no grouping. It does not stand for stratified random sample. SRS is only the simple random sample, where you put everybody in a hat. You don't have an adult pool and a kiddie pool in simple random sample. You have just one big pool and everybody jumps in no matter what age they are. Okay. And B, why would they do this? Why would they do cluster instead of maybe stratified for this? I can wait. Why would you choose cluster sampling over stratified sampling for this situation? I mean, it fits it perfectly. Thank you, Bella.
Maybe because some people's Wi-Fi or internet is better in one area, so they might not like this idea rather than the others like that.
Yeah, they want to find a neighborhood where most all the people say, yeah, we'll purchase, and then they're going to take their fiber in there and lay it down and wherever, I guess it's put underground now. Like where I grew up, everything was up on telephone poles. Going up 306 to West Geauga, man, that's a telephone pole. I think they're all still there, aren't they? Like one after another after another. Yeah, so this is perfect for this kind of thing because they don't want to put fiber optic cable just randomly to this neighborhood and a couple people in that neighborhood and a couple people here. They'd rather spend the money and do one whole neighborhood where most of the people are going to purchase. Okay, so we are going to stand and do vegetables and fruits and dogs and cats. All right. So we are going to first take the dogs and cats. This is just so you can stand up, by the way, too. What is Trent doing? He's watching a video. Yes, you are. It's playing on your Chromebook. Okay. So you guys at home can watch us do this. We'll make people come up here so you can see us. Okay, so I think I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of you. Huh. So we're gonna pick the one person that's not going to do this. Talking about efficient and effective. Ella gets to sit down. Okay, come on up, everybody else. Take a random picture. And then you got to stand up here, right here, along this area because they can see you at home. Yeah, you can look at it. You can show everybody else. You can look at it. Line up all the way here. I don't care how you stand right now. I'd rather have you stand all mixed up.
No, I'm like one.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask you, separate yourself into 2 strata.
Yellow ones and other ones.
Why are you trading, Max?
I want the
We could try it.
But look at your cute puppy. Okay, I want strata,
That's like a pocket.
one strata over by the door and one strata over there. That would be the quickest, easiest thing to do.
I would say you gave the one.
Okay, so now you're in strata. If I'm the mom of a boy and a girl, let's say, and the boy really wants a cat because he doesn't mind getting scratched, then, I know, but usually not as viciously, and they don't hiss too much, then we would put all the cats in a hat and the mom would pull one cat out, and then she would randomly come to the dogs and randomly pull a dog out, right? Okay, now I want you to organize yourself in youngest to oldest. Go. Youngest to oldest.
November 2nd.
Of people. Of people. So if you're a sophomore, you're down here. If you're a senior, you're over
You're
there.
at the very bottom. Wait.
Sophomores over here, seniors by the door.
Doesn't matter by like age.
Yeah, find out your birth month.
Yeah, no, everybody's one of them.
When's your birthday?
May 9th, 2000.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
We're birthday twins.
No way!
Yes.
That's so cool.
The second person ever I've taught that has the same birthday as me.
Who's the other one?
Okay, I knew you were going to ask me that.
The moose.
And he
This one I
wore
learned
brown
yesterday.
corduroys and a
Teach the moose.
green shirt
That's how we
once.
do it.
The only reason I remember that is because
Where
do
you
you
can
remember
do
the girl that had perfect
dog.
pitch?
Or there's
Yeah,
a double.
I remember
double.
hearing
Her
about
name was Cook.
Let's see if I can do it.
Lindsay, that's not right.
Double.
Begin with an L.
You have to like sort of.
She had perfect pitch, but she was also thick synesthetic. So when she looked at words, they were colored.
When I look at where she
So where's the dump one that you like grab your arm around?
You have some high intelligence packed up there somewhere.
Yeah.
And she came over once and looked at his name and said, "Oh, your name is exactly like your dress today. It's browns and tans." And then she would say, "Oh, Bella, your name sparkles."
Oh, thank you.
Like we all wrote our names with like black marker and held it up on those marker boards. And Lynn, I don't think her name was Lindsay. Her last name was Cook. And she had perfect pitch too, and she was super duper stinking smart. But she was synesthetic. So numbers and, I mean, no wonder people like that have an advantage. Because you can remember things better, because you have an extra sensory thing going on up there. So you see gender, huh? Cool. And I had one girl, okay, you guys remember they were from Germany, and he played the clarinet, and her name was Held. Leander and she would be so sad if anyway, she could different words smelled different to her. It's a thing. Okay, so now if I say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, if I split you like this, and the mom just, let's say she goes to what's the veterinary, or what's the place that keeps all the stray animals? Rescue Village. So there's a rescue village, and she just takes her kids there because it's close, and they get to randomly pick a cat and a dog from Rescue Village. But then you guys go to the place in Twinsburg, and I can't remember the name. That would be Cluster, because she's just taking like all the stray animals from Rescue Village. And COVID was really good for the rescue animals, because I think Rescue Village was flat out of animals
They were.
to adopt, which is pretty cool.
A lot of people fostered dogs during quarantine.
Okay, you guys can give me those back.
They can try it. Can we do the carrot?
Yeah, we'll do fruits and vegetables.
I'm so excited.
How did you mess that up?
That's what I thought, but I thought it was a blue. And well, they told us that too. And then they said that.
But there is a big difference.
No, even a
That doesn't name that gets.
I don't even.
Okay. All right, so these are now fruits and vegetables that you'll be picking from. That's not really apples. I think everybody's gonna get to choose here. So everybody come pick something.
Ew.
Apples.
Oh,
But then I made one.
Yeah. Ella gets to come up now. Sorry, guys at home. You can just laugh at us. All right. Who else? Max, you get to come up and pick again. And that's not really apples
I love
on the other side.
That's
Okay.
No.
You want
Cut it in slices.
peppers?
No.
Okay. Let's put ourselves into strata. Fruits and vegetables. Where are fruits going? Fruits are over there.
That's, yeah.
Here, give me asparagus and eggplant. Okay, what's avocado? Here, full of mango.
It is a fruit. It is a fruit. It is a fruit.
Yep, you're over there. What about rhubarb? This is like my favorite thing in the whole wide world.
That is.
Do you guys know at home what? Have you seen rhubarb? You ever seen rhubarb? Have you ever had rhubarb pie? Oh, just rhubarb pie, honey. No strawberry. I think it's actually considered a vegetable, but it tastes like a fruit. So if I were the mom, I would randomly pick a vegetable for dinner and randomly pick a fruit for dinner. Yeah. Yeah, there is rhubarb ice cream at Mitchell's. Rhubarb crumb.
Just asking us to have like.
Lots of greens and black. All right, so are we kind of getting the idea here?
Yeah, like lemon, you put like.
I know, but
I
know.
Oh, that's disgusting.
And like,
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, we're back, guys. So, I actually had somebody make me up a little ditty for this. And where is it? I thought it was some boy. It was a Toth. It was Brad Toth. He made me up a little ditty with this so people could remember what the difference was. And let's see if I have it in my notes. Where'd it go? That's kind of sad. I'll find it and I'll put it up for us. Oh, if you stratify, you'll be satisfied because every student has a chance. Because you're going to visit each group, right? If you cluster all the classes, it's a smaller expanse. That's how Brad remembered the difference between stratifying and cluster. Because cluster was by location, so you don't have to walk as far to get everybody. So I don't know. I will put that up there for somebody. But that's how what Brad came up with. Okay. All right. So we've already done that. Let's take a look at this. Number 20, because we're going to practice our calculator now. Sampling by accountants. Accountants often use stratified samples during audits. This happens a lot. We're on page 37. The stratification is based on the dollar amount of the item and often includes 100% of the big guys. So one company reports 5,000 accounts receivable. Of these, 100 are in amounts over 50,000. Somebody's buying 50,000 plus worth of stuff from their warehouse. 500 are people who buy between 1,000 and 50,000, and the remaining 4,400 are in amounts under 1,000. So think of Oriental Trading Company. They might have whole districts that have a membership to Oriental Trading Company. So they might have 100 school districts that spend over 50 grand with them a year. Their teachers buy all the stuff. And then the 500s might be just individual schools, like Kenston High School has an account with Oriental Trading Company, but Kenston Middle School doesn't. And then the 4,400 are just people like me who buy stuff for Sunday school and for class, but I usually don't spend $1,000 a year. Okay, using these groups as strata, you decide to verify all the largest accounts and to sample 5% of the mid-size accounts and 1% of the small accounts. Okay, so here we go. This is going to be for the mid-size accounts, and how many mid-size accounts do I have? 500. So I'm going to label accounts, and now I'm doing my calculator, so do I have to do the double zero? No. So I'm going to label accounts 1 to 500. And so this is 500, and if I want to sample 5% of 500, how many am I doing? 25 of those 500. Thank you. How did he get that? 500 times 0.05. That equals 25. So how am I going to randomize? I'm going to use randint, and I'm going to go from 1 to 500. Remember, you always have to pick out of your population, not out of your sample size. By ones, I'm going to continue until, don't look at this down here yet. Some of you got mixed up with this and you're going to lose points. Continue until how many different ones are selected? 25. Continue until 25 different accounts, accounts, oh, just doesn't look right, are selected. Do I have to say from 1 to 500? So how do you spell counts? It's looking very weird. Okay, that's how you do it. Are selected. You don't have to say from 1 to 500, but if it helps you to remember to do it on the table, it's certainly not wrong. All right. I'm going to pick somebody to pick a 2-digit number for us between 10 and 100. Trent, what's your favorite number between 10 and 100?
75.
Okay, so we're going to seed our calculator with 75. Everybody ready? Go to the calculator, hit 75, stow it where? Math, probability, rand, hit enter. Okay, now what do I do with my calculator? I will randomly choose. I'm doing simple random sampling here. Ben, what do I put in my calculator to get these?
Doing the math, probability, random.
Lower is 1, upper is 500, and we're going to do it by ones in case of a repeat. And now we pay attention to this down here. It says, okay, let's only do the first 5. You don't have to write down all 25. I just wanted you to get started. Okay, so hit your calculator. Hopefully you only have to hit that button 5 times. And I'm going to call on somebody to tell us what those numbers are. Put everybody back in the hopper. Brooks and Dunn sang a song about this. Does anybody know the song that Brooks and Dunn sang that has one of your names in it?
I have no idea about it.
It's probably a sample.
No, it's my Maria. Okay, Maria, what'd you get?
459, 97, 451,
251, and 185.
You guys all agree with Maria? Okay, just to make sure you know how to set up the small accounts, how many small accounts do we have? 4,400. 1% of that, don't say it out loud. Ben's not allowed to answer, neither is anybody else. What is 1% of 4,400? Zach, what do you get?
4.
4,400 times 1%, which basically means you're going to divide it by 100. It's not 4.
44.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so label accounts 1 to 4,400. Random int what? 1 comma 4,400 comma 1. Jeez. And we're going to say continue until what? $44 different accounts are selected. And can I just keep pressing my calculator right now? No. And if you haven't pressed more digits on your calculator, then right now, here's a little interesting thing. Let me press it 4 times or 5 times, right? So now I'm where you guys are.
Well,
You-
2 plus 6 is 97.
Oh, 97 happened twice? I didn't catch that. Okay, so let me do one more. So now I'm where you guys are. You can go back up to this random int and press enter, and back over to the 500 and put 440 insert 0. You can't just put 440, you have to type, or, oh, you guys can't do that. Oh yeah, you can do that. So the first 5 out, 21, 2,830, 2382, 3735, and 2034. So we were getting more practice on this, which I knew, but you didn't. Okay, the last one on the back side talks about stadiums. And if we look at stadiums, would cluster or stratified sampling be better? Probably cluster, because if you want to see how people feel about their experience at the stadium, you want to get the expensive seats, and you want to get some people from the cheap seats, right? Now, you could put the cheap seats into SR groups, and you could put the expensive seats into groups, and the corner seats, and yada yada. It's just it's a whole different ballgame, and it's much more complex. If you do cluster, you would like put in 126, 125, 108, and 109, and you would pull one entire group of those out and ask everybody, how do you like it for the money you're spending? And if you wanted to do cluster that way, then you'd have to put like all these green seats, all the nosebleed. Well, these are better than, those seats are better than these guys, right? The yellows, because you're at least looking at the whole court here. So that's what that question on the back is about, but that's all we're going to say about that right now. I think this is the Browns Stadium, and this was the Cavs, because there's a C in the middle, and this was Garrett, yeah. All right, so just remember the difference between cluster and stratify somehow, and I can't get that link right now. Here is your homework. 26 to 30 is asking questions like, Go ahead and take a picture if you want. 26 to 30 asks some specifics. How long before school starts do students get out of bed on average? Administrators survey a random sample of students on each school bus one morning. So if they do a random sample on each school bus, is that strata or cluster? A random sample on each bus. They didn't take a random whole bus to sample, they took a random sample on each bus. So what is that? Strata. And how could you do bias? So you have to come up with specific ideas for me. And I still didn't give you your test back. We do have A-skips, by the way. The A-skips are going to be 25 and 27. We don't have 25. Okay, the A-skip will be 27. Can't you pick another one, Mrs. Garrett? Huh? No. Okay, that's 21, which I kind of want you to do because we didn't do that one together. Let's see about 22. Ooh, I like 22. We're not skipping that one. We all did 25. That's why it's not on there. Okay, you can skip 26 also. 26 and 27 can be the A skips. And I apologize for not handing your test out. I was going to do that, and I didn't. So if somebody really would like to see their test, I do have it to give you. I did. I used to put. Where'd I put them? Oh, they're right here. Just leave your folders on top of your desks if you're here, and I do have everything in the Infinite Campus, so check that out and get to me what's missing if you have it. You guys have any questions? Okay, have a good weekend. Thanks. I'll have new groups for you guys to be in next week. Yes.
Just for the corrections, I don't know if it's just me, but for some reason I can't see them.
See what questions?
Like, when I was looking at the corrections for today's homework, I couldn't actually see them. I only had the helpful hints.
Let me double check to see what I did. Are you going to the second one where you upload your answers? I think that's it.
Because I have the only one, it's not popping up in the virtual answers and corrections, but there's no corrections in it.
So, for 4, did you get 4-4?
Okay, it just went through. Okay, I guess something went wrong on my thing.
Okay, yeah, but number 18 wasn't part of it because somehow I didn't get that on there. Or no, that was okay. It was yesterday's.
Okay.
Yeah, they should be there now. Yesterday doesn't have 18 at the end. You have to go to, I guess, the class slides if you still need 18.
Alright. Thank you.
All right, Alex, have a good weekend,
We
hon.
have to do for like 141 things on the question, right?
Which one are you talking about?
For the, let me look at it really fast.
Okay.
For the forest, we didn't have to do it for the.
No, I think it says only do the first 3 or 4. Which number is that?
I believe 13. Let me get the, like,
Yeah, no, you only have to do the first 3. In part B, it says use your method from A to choose the first 3. But you want to put 141 in the stopping procedure. You just don't have to do all those.
Okay, well, I did.
Well, sorry about that. No, I will never ask you to do something like that.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and now you know why, because it's tedious and it wastes your time.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Alright.
Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.